If you are seeking a personal word for God this year, in your personal wilderness, in your personal circumstance, then you must be in his presence. You must respond to the things that don't make sense until you hear him call your name. To be in his presence in prayer and the word positions you in the mountain of God. If you're in a dry place, if life has become dull and dreary as you perform your routine day-to-day task, the good news is that even though there's a 40-year gap, God had not forgotten Moses. So if you're still here, that means there's still hope for a fresh encounter with God. And the reason we want to look at this encounter is because I wanted to inform your encounter that we're praying that God gives you and me and us. First of all, notice where Moses is. According to verse 1, he's on the west side of the wilderness, and he came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Now, the mountain of God, or Horeb, is Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is the mountain where the 10 Commandments were given, where God's presence would be manifested in a miraculous way a few chapters from now. But it's called the mountain of God. So before he ever experiences an encounter, he's in God's vicinity. He's in the mountain of God. See, a lot of people want an experience with God who don't want to hang out with where he's located. If you want an encounter with God, you got to hang out where he is. He has positioned himself for an encounter. We're told that the angel of the Lord appears to him. Now, this goes on to tell us that the angel of the Lord is in fact God, because it says, and God said to him. So the angel of the Lord is equated with God, or to put it another way, the angel of the Lord, when equated with God, is Jesus Christ operating in the Old Testament. He is the manifestation of the second person of the Trinity, who is the spokesperson for the Father. The angel of the Lord appears to him in a blazing fire from the midst of a bush. Now, Moses is in the wilderness. He's seen plenty of bushes on fire in the dry atmosphere of a wilderness. Brush fires happen all the time. But this particular fire was unusual because the fire was burning and the bush was not being consumed. Let me say that again. He saw a fire. That is not what caught his attention. What caught his attention was the fire wasn't doing what fires normally do, which is consume that which is burning. Let me say this another way. What he saw was a contradiction. He saw something taking place outside of the norm. One of the ways you know you're on the precipice of an encounter with God is when he presents you a contradictory situation. Moses said, I must turn aside now and see this marvelous sight, why the bush is not burned up. He didn't skip it. He investigated it further. He said, I've got to understand what's going on there because this doesn't make sense. Many of us have missed an encounter with God because we ignored the contradiction. So he turns aside. I love verse 4. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called him. It says, he called him from the midst of the bush. And then God speaks to him and says, Moses, Moses. We call that a rhema word. This is when God calls your name. This is when you know he's talking to you. Perhaps you've been in service and the sermon was for everybody, but you heard it for you. It was though you were the only person there. And you knew God was talking to you in your circumstance. That's a rhema word. It is an utterance with your name on it. The question is, do you hear it for you? Do you hear God calling your name in the situation you're in the wilderness that has been an extended place for you because there is a contradiction that does not make sense? He says, Moses, Moses. If you are seeking a personal word for God this year, in your personal wilderness, in your personal circumstance, then you must be in his presence. You must respond to the things that don't make sense until you hear him call your name. To be in his presence in prayer and the word positions you in the mountain of God. Moses says, here I am. You called me and I'm not running from you. I'm running to you. I'm here. And now the Lord gives him more information, because he responds to his name being called. Do not come near here. Remove your sandals, verse 5, from your feet. For the place on which you stand is holy ground. Now, if you'll read this too fast, it would be easy to miss something. God is speaking from the bush. Moses is standing on the ground. Moses is told, don't come to the bush. Take off your shoes where you are. Because you're in my territory right now. You're in my vicinity. So the holy ground, he wasn't the bush. The holy ground was the place he was standing, which wasn't the bush. I'm not going to let you get this close to the fire with your shoes on. So let me make something inextricably clear. You cannot have an encounter with God if you're unwilling to deal with sin. If you're unwilling to acknowledge it, repent of it, if you're unwilling, you can't get to the bush. Because before you ever get to the bush, you got to be willing to take off your shoes. The accumulated dirt. Because this is holy ground. Holy means to separate. It's something that's sacredly separated. I want to separate you from your sins so that I can give you an encounter with the Holy One. He spoke to Moses in a contradictory situation using an ordinary object. See, the bush was already there. It's an ordinary bush that's been invaded by a supernatural presence. So I don't know how God is going to meet you, but any old bush will do. To create the most ingenious contradictions in order to manifest himself, God identifies himself. Moses, I am the God of your fathers. I have seen the affliction, verse 7, of my people. I have come down to deliver them. Well, remember, this whole thing started 80 years ago. Moses knew he was supposed to be used of God to deliver the people. He knew God had a hand on his life. He just didn't do it God's way. There may be those of us who knew way back somewhere God was going to do something with my life, but nothing has happened. Not happening yet. We've been wandering in the wilderness. God says, I did not forget what I planned for you. I did not forget what I planned for my people. But the problem back then is that you wanted to do it your way. So I had to bring you down to earth. You had too much Egypt in you. And often we have too much world in us. So God can't do what he wants to do at the time we think it ought to be done because we've been too Egyptianized. Now, he doesn't tell him the program until Moses has an encounter with the person. See, a lot of folk want to know the program who don't want the person. He gives him a big job. I want you to go to Pharaoh, and I want you to tell this monster man to let my people go. That's a big job. Let me tell you a secret. When you have an encounter with God, if there's nothing in your life that only God can do, you'll forever be tending sheep. He didn't know, but God was using this humbling of sheep to prepare him for the leading of people. So Moses has a question. He has a question. Moses has a question. He wants to know, now, you want me to go to Pharaoh where they already have threatened my life and I've been hiding for 40 years. You actually want me to go tell him that? I've been in absentia for 40 years and you want me to go back and tell, do I have this correct, God? Well, they're going to ask a question. And the question they're going to ask is, what's his name? They're going to want to know, what's his name? God says to him, but Moses said to God, verse 11, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? I'm nobody. Boy, that's a change over 40 years, because he was somebody 40 years ago. He was a man that I should bring the people out. He says, I'm going to be with you. Moses said, behold, I'm going to the sons of Israel. I will say to them, verse 13, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. Now they may say to me, what is his name? Who I am. Then you will say, verse 14, to the sons of Israel, I am have sent you. What kind of name is that? He says, who shall I tell them sent me? You tell them my name, and my name is I am that I am. Not only am I am that I am. I define myself by me. There's only one independent person in the universe, and that is God, because he exists because he exists. And he does not need anything outside of himself to be himself, because he's not dependent upon anything outside of himself. You are all, I am, we are all dependent on him. Well, why does he want Moses to know this name? Because of this encounter. He wants him to know that name, because when he runs into this next problem that he's getting ready to run into, named Pharaoh. See, encounter with God doesn't mean you're not running into no new problems. He's running into another problem from an old foe. And he says, when you run into this problem, Pharaoh is the big man on campus. He's your ace boon coon. He's your number one man. He's the man. He's going to threaten you. He's going to challenge you. He's going to scare you. But I want you to know I am that I am. And the reason you need to know this is when you face Pharaoh, big and bad Pharaoh, you're going to have to know somebody who is so self-sufficient that he can be whatever you need when you run up against Pharaoh. So I am going to be your power. I am going to be your deliverer. I am going to be your sustainer. I am going to be your victory. I am that I am, so I won't need help to be me for you. Which goes back to a theme that we've gone over and over again, and that is you only have one source. You only have one source. I am that I am. So you ain't, but he is. Because I am that I am. I am the sufficient one, but I am personal. They are therefore relational. Many people want his provision who don't want his person. They want Elohim, his power, but not Yahweh, his I amness. But if you desire an encounter with God this year, I invite you to pursue the mountain of God, to get in his presence. I encourage you to not ignore the contradictory things that he allows you to see or experience, and to move closer to him when they occur. I invite you to listen to the sound of his voice calling your name, and then the assignment that he attaches to the call.
The pain remains, but so does hope. Every ending leads to something new. The memories still softly linger, like the rain that won't quite fade. And some nights my heart feels heavy from the choices that we made. But I've learned that even heartache cannot hold me where I stand. For every door that closes slowly opens roads I've never planned. Though the sadness still remains, I know this isn't where I end. Every goodbye holds a new sunrise. Every loss can heal again. So I'll keep walking toward tomorrow, with hope inside my soul, trust trusting brighter days are waiting somewhere down this road. There were dreams I thought were forever. Now they drift like fallen leaves. But the future whispers gently, there is more ahead for me. Though the sadness still remains, I know this isn't where I end. Every goodbye holds a new sunrise. Every loss can heal again. So I'll keep walking toward tomorrow with hope inside my soul, trusting brighter days are waiting somewhere down this road. I may carry scars from yesterday, but they won't define my way. 'Cause even broken hearts can find a stronger love someday. Though the sadness still remains, I know this isn't where I end. Every goodbye holds a new sunrise. Every loss